Previously, we did handle Docker a little bit, and we created images. I showed you the different commands and stuff like that. But today, we want now to basically, I can call it deploy our images to Docker Hub or push our Docker images to Docker Hub. I'll use push. It's the same as deploy, so that you can pull those. You or your colleague can pull the images in future, or you can basically link. You can create some sort of pipeline where after you push your image to Docker Hub, you can have another platform where you are hosting your application. Basically, pull it from Docker Hub. So Docker Hub, basically, what is Docker Hub? Docker Hub is like this registry where you basically, or a repository where you store your images, and you can put your images from, or you can push new images to. And so when you look at Docker, we have a number of images that people have shared already with you, and you can easily pull those and build on top of those. But also Docker gives you that opportunity to create your own images, push them there, and share with other colleagues to who can pull and build their images based on your image. So basically, it's a nice place to share images, to store your images, and also to look for images. So I think it's the largest repository for images right now in the world, and there are tons of images right there. So depending on what you're doing, you can basically get an image related to that. If we even have images for a whole operating system like Ubuntu. You can pull an image for Ubuntu and basically run Ubuntu commands. So it's that beautiful. So if you're learning about Ubuntu and you don't want to set up a whole OS for Ubuntu, you can easily, for as long as you know how to use Docker, you can pull that image and boom, you go in there and you start running your Linux commands so comfortably. So it's a really pretty place to manage images. So you can see we have a number of images for different things. We have images, for example, we have for machine learning, you can see TensorFlow, PyTorch, and so on and so forth. And that means that also yourself try to properly organize your images so that if someone is looking for an image related to something, they can easily get your image there. And another thing is because in terms of security, since I'm also into security, some of these images are also rated. You can see they have star and whatnot. So you can easily tell an image which is good and that one which has not been verified. So it's a place where also you can easily get verified versus non-verified images. So it's a nice thing to look at the image, go through some details about that image. Is it verified? Are there issues about the image and stuff like that before you pull and use the image? Of course, there's another issue we talked about last time, which was the size of the image, which also matters. You also want a light image to use for your projects. So for that bit, I think you can easily search for any image right here, but you've seen a number of different categories for different images. I don't want to get into that right now, but you can always come here and search based on whatever thing you're trying to do. If it's based on security, it's based on machine learning, it's just based on backend development, front end. If it's it React based image you're looking for, whatnot, then all those images you'll get them there published, and you'll also be publishing those images. And that's why we are doing this, so that we enable you also to learn how to publish the images right away from your local PC. So thank you. So let's dive into the real thing here. Okay. So last time what we did is we were able to create the image, and I think we got to the point where we were supposed to maybe run the image. So just to confirm that this is where we were. they're supposed to be images. Okay, so these are our images, and the first one is like the very first image. So I'll just run that image and show you that it is working, and then later on I will go ahead and probably just deploy it to, the thing is I can do two things. I can either decide to just push it to GitHub, and then I'll point, so I want to deploy it to render, so I'll just pull it, I'll point render to my GitHub account where the image is, and pull it from there. But then it won't be pulling it as a container as such. The major thing I want to do at the end of the day is to pull it as to pull the image from Docker Hub, right? And then pull it and then run it on Render, which is my hosting platform where I want to serve the app from. So I'll have to like use GitHub. I'll go to GitHub and use the Git workflow. So that means I'll use GitHub workflow to build some sort of pipeline to link my Git to Docker, right? So that when I push anything to GitHub, that image is automatically pulled by Docker Hub, and then from Docker Hub to render. So you can see that kind of pipeline. So I can automate that process. But I think that will be a good thing for the DevOps that we are planning to do next. So for today, I just want to show you how to deploy our image to Docker Hub, and maybe from Docker Hub to render, and then we serve the app. And I think that will be good enough for today. It won't be too much to bite for this session. Okay, great. So I'll run our image. Maybe that was just to confirm. So I'll do sudo docker run, and then the image name is you can see it is Finlingo API. Just copy it. So the tag here doesn't have to be separated like that. Just use the colon the way I created it. And I think that is it. That should be able to run the app. The image now, start the container and run it, basically. So I'll also check to see the running the running containers. So I can do sudo to increase the font for this also. Do you guys remember the command? It was docker ps for all, or so just want to see the running processes or the running container. So these are all the running containers at the moment. So I have this, and about an hour ago, and this one is what is running right now. So I want to kill one of these. So I want to kill probably this one. So I'll stop it. I think the command should be sudo docker. So if I want to stop an image, do you guys remember that command? So I think I can just give it the image ID for one reason or the other. So it's copying and just adding some other stuff. So I want to stop that image from running. So if I do docker ps so exited, yeah, it's not running. So this one is up, this one has stopped. So I only have one container running. So I'll check that. So you can see And one thing is, I realized one thing: if you don't expose it to all interfaces, most probably this you won't be able to access it. If you want to access this API locally, just the same way, uh, that I mean, using the default way, you won't be able to access. So you have to add the host. You have to make the host be accessible through all the interfaces. So you basically give the host an IP of 0.0.0.0.0. So that way it doesn't just run on the local host alone. So you can access it like anywhere within the internet. So you expose it. And that's how so personally, if I want to access the API, so I'll use this link. So maybe I just like show you how that looks like. So I will just start some private window here. So first of all, I'll just like copy this. I'll try to be quick first because of time. And I think also it's good I show you the code, but I'm gonna do that in a sec. So this one actually works. If you want to know it works, I'll just like check the, you can see it works. So, but what about the API itself? So that should be API docs. That should load Swagger, so you can see Swagger is already there. So I can do login and say try it. So I think we have user one. I don't know if this is the correct password for the user one, so I just sent that request and you can see that it was successful, login successful. So I've not implemented the token, but that one is a simple thing to do. But the login was successful just by use of username and password, and that's okay. And other APIs too, I think they should be working just for testing purposes. So if I want to create a challenge, so this is a challenge you're given, I'll try it out, given like 1,000 points is 50, save maybe save $500. So the message, it was created successfully, challenge created successfully, as you can see from the response right here. Okay, so the APIs are working and our image is also working. So it's nice to always to test first before you, after you've done the build, it's nice to test before you push it. You push your image, because sometimes you might push an image that is not working and then people start having issues. So it's nice you test it. If it works locally and it's okay, then you can go ahead and push it. So there was something I was trying to show you, and that is I hope you guys can hear me clearly, because the other time we had issue, I realized that the quality of sound was really poor. Someone told me that this font is too bright and it's at night. I think that works for you. Is that clear for you?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, good. Right. So what I was actually saying was, so anyway, this is our Docker file, so it still remains the way it was. And so if I want to create that pipeline where I'll be pulling this image from GitHub to Docker Hub, although I can still just go the shortcut way, I can skip Git and push it directly to Docker Hub. But then I want a history of everything on GitHub. I want every change I make on the image and whatnot, I want that reflected on the GitHub. That's why we need GitHub. That's why we're using GitHub. So Docker can't do that for us. Docker will just be pulling versions of images. So for that case, I'd want from my local PC, push it to GitHub, and then from GitHub, then I have it pulled by dockerhub.io to, oh yeah, pulled to Docker Hub from Git. So I'll have to create a workflow using the YAML file. So I'll go to GitHub, create YAML, choose, but we'll do that when you're building the pipeline for this, because we have that session next time. I think it will be an overkill for today. So I'll do a very simple pipeline, and we'll make it more and more complex as we move on. But for now, we just make things simple. We bite what we can chew, just the same way we started bit by bit until we go to this stage. So there's this file I wanted to show you, this run.py, which is like the entry point to this application. So this is the point where I told you once you add this line, you're basically exposing this app to all interfaces. Yeah. So in a network, anyone can access the app when you're running it. So it'll be basically serving it to everyone in the internet, and not just serving it for local usage or locally on your PC. So it will be accessible all over, in short. Yeah. Yes. So that's what I actually wanted to show you, and I hope it is clear on your side. Okay. So the next thing I will do is log into docker.io, because I want to push this image there. Because to push it to GitHub is so easy, just do git push, and I think right now it is I don't have any changes, so everything is clear, already pushed, so I'll not do that. But my focus is github.io. I want to see how to connect to that. So I'll do sudo docker. So you can do sudo docker login, and then it will give you like some sort of code to use, and then log via the browser or whatever. Or you can still use sudo docker login, then you can give it the username and the password. So for username, you give it the docker username, and then password, then you type in also your password right there. But then for the sake of secrecy here, I'm not going that way. I want to hide things, so I'll just do sudo docker login, and then because I'm recording this, I don't want people to get my password. So it will generate some one-time so what it does, it generates for you some credential to use authenticating a code that you can use. So you enter that, and then it will give you some browser. Okay, Samir, that's fine. Yeah, so it will give you some credential to use, and then and a link to the web browser. So you go to the web browser, and then you use that to log in, and then that way it authenticates you. So right now I'm authenticated, so you can see login successful. So I can actually push the image right away from here. So so what next from here now? What do we do next? Right. So first of all, you remember we did the build process. We already have so I can still do the build again, but that might take time. So what about just oops. Yeah, so I think what I did here was I want to build this image again, but I want to build it differently. I want to do the right thing. I want to give it my name and the image, so that way if someone pulls it later on, when someone visits the GitHub, I don't know, docker.io knows that I'm the one who built that image. So I think it's just a good thing to do it. So I'll build this image, and what I'll do is I'll see. So I'll probably give it a new tag name. So I'll call myself Docker, and then the app is I'll just go with this one. version 1.0. I'll still retain that because it's the same thing, it's only the naming that has changed. And then yeah, so I'll build that. I don't know, that one is not working. Oh, I forgot to give it the path, which was supposed to be this same folder, so I forgot to add the dot. But anyway, this one will build very fast, it won't take a lot of time. Yeah, so there we have it. So now I want to push it to Docker Hub. So just to show you my Docker Hub, let me show you my account, you see, so that you see there is nothing there. So here we go, and go to Docker Hub. Yeah, so you can see my last project, that was a Django project a while ago. So but anyway, so that is, I haven't pushed anything, so just want to show you before we push. So we try our little experiment here and see what happens. So I'll go ahead and do the push so that we get to see what happens. So the next thing will be, so we already logged in, so we actually connected to the Docker Hub already. So the next thing we'd want to do is now to push. Yeah, and that should be so easy. So I'll do that. So this is the command. So I'll do sudo, but in Windows you don't have to do sudo, just do docker. So I'll tag sudo docker tag, and then do you remember the image? It was docker. So maybe I'll have to copy that again. Let me use the other terminal so that I don't get confused here. So these are the images. So we have this docker. This is what we have at the moment. So if I get back there, you can have you can say sudo okay. So that was it, and the version number was version what? Let me see the version. Sorry, there's a lot of stuff on missed. Oh, I missed that one. Anyway, it was version 1.0.1. I think that was it. But I am messing things up here. Yep. All right. then so the next thing is my Docker Hub. I hope I'm not switching my screen so many times until so this was the image we created, if you can remember. So I'm just tagging. I also want to ensure that I properly tag the so I'm just doing the tagging and ensuring that I also do the right tagging on the remote image, the one that I want to push to Docker Hub. So the next thing I'll do, I'll use my Docker Hub username. So I'll go with the, so you can see there's a space here after what we've done for what we already have. So for what we want to push to Docker Hub, this is how we want it to appear. So first of all, using my username. So my username is and then I'll still retain the same. So I'll call it Finlingo API. Then I'll just give it the same version. Why do we do the versioning and the tagging? Because we want it to be very easy for us to identify the changes, to look at history and to identify the images so easily. So in case there's an image that had issues, or the image that we want to resort to or to revert to, we can easily do that with tagging. Otherwise, if you don't do tagging, it's going to name it's just going to have all the images with the same name. For example, it will say Finlingo API latest. So every other thing will be latest, and it becomes so difficult for you to pinpoint the exact image that you want to have a look at, or you want to, that is of concern, in short. So when you tag them and you push them, it becomes so easy for you to look through history and actually point the exact image of interest. So it's nice to do the tagging. Well, so after I've done the tagging, I just press enter there, and that is the tagging bit. So the next thing I do is I now push it. I've done the tagging, so I want to push it. So I'll say just the same way we do git push. So yeah, you also do sudo docker push. I hope this terminal is not too small for you. So sudo docker push, and then the same. I'll go the username and the image here. So I'll just copy that and paste it here because of time. So you don't use your local, but your Docker Hub username and the same that line, just the way it is. So let me push it and see if there's something wrong. So okay. Oh, it has accepted. I don't know why it was looking at that as if it was so it will push it. So I just want to go there and confirm that it's actually pushed the image. Where was that? So I'll refresh this. I don't know if there's any other refresh icon here besides just going to so I'll refresh this and see if there is anything reflecting. Yeah, there it is. So there we have our backend just hosted on Docker Hub.